What will it take for God to get through to you? Find out in this episode of 5 Minutes Closer. I'm Vaughn Weatherford, and this is 5 Minutes Closer. For the next 5 minutes, let's explore some biblical truths and apply them to your life. No podcast, including this one, can transform your life or give you what you really need. Only Jesus can do that. You can find out why in what I've called the first five episodes of 5 Minutes Closer. Each following episode explores scriptural truths that, if you follow them, will bring you 5 minutes closer to the person God created you to be. Let's see if we can get you 5 minutes closer. I'm not a fan of automated phone menus. They make calling customer service a true test of patience. The menu greets the customer with a pleasant voice, reminding them to listen to all menu options, as if you have a choice. Selecting one of the options leads to yet another menu with more options, which leads to even more menus. When I find myself in a loop of customer service menus, I usually ask myself, what will it take to get through to these people? The Lord must have felt the same way with the Israelites during the Exodus experience. Come to think of it, that's probably how he feels with us too sometimes. That's the problem with the book of Exodus. Whenever I criticize the people of Israel for their lack of faith, it isn't too long until I realize I'm the same way. In Exodus chapter 16, the Israelites were grumbling again, complaining this time that they didn't have enough food to eat. It's recorded in verses 2 through 3. And the whole congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the people of Israel said to them, "Would that we had died at the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots and ate bread to the full. For you have brought us into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." This was beginning to become a pattern. The Israelites had complained that they would never see freedom from slavery, so God sent Moses as his instrument to set them free. When the Egyptians initially made life more difficult, they complained that it would have been better if Moses had never come. God sent the plagues on the Egyptians that finally resulted in the Pharaoh allowing them to go. As they fled into the desert, the Israelites complained that they were going to be captured by the Egyptian soldiers, but God parted the Red Sea. They complained they couldn't drink the water at Marah, and God made the water sweet, then led them to an oasis at Elim. It wasn't like the Lord had not delivered them every single time. It was not like they had not seen the miraculous hand of God in the plagues, in the dry land through the middle of the sea, in the pillar of cloud by day, and the pillar of fire by night. It was not like they had not just taken water that God had made whole just for them, or that they now were camped at a beautiful oasis where God had led them. So were they thankful? No. All they could think about was the excellent food they used to have back in Egypt. They had food for everyone, pots of meat just lying around, waiting to be eaten. Exactly which Egypt were they thinking about? This was the Egypt where they had been slaves. This was the Egypt where taskmasters forced them to fashion brick all day to build Egyptian monuments and cities. This was the same Egypt where the Pharaoh had ordered all their firstborn sons to be killed. And they wanted to go back? They had not only forgotten what God had done, they had already forgotten where they'd been. Talk about selective memory. Despite their grumbling, what does God do for the people of Israel? He provides them with manna, bread from heaven. Why would God continue to provide for a stubborn and rebellious people? The same reason he continues to provide for us. He loves us. Even as Christians, it's easy to fall into the same pattern as the nation of Israel. We need to realize that God's not finished yet. He's still at work. And his work is just as miraculous today as it was when the Israelites stepped out of their tents and found manna in the desert. God wants to work in your life too. The only question is, are you willing to believe it? You can, because now you're 5 minutes closer. My prayer is that these 5 minutes have challenged you, inspired you, and caused you to consider applying God's message for your life from His Word. To find out more, visit our website at 5minutescloser.com. Join me next time to see if we can get you 5 minutes closer.